Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
Let's get right to it. How about Sheffield with a -9 to open up the PGA Championship? And joining us now, our friend Tom Lehman here on the right to it, a guest on here on Fox Sports 910. It's Rocket Manooch. Tom, how you doing, buddy? What's happening?
Well, I'm doing great. Yeah, 62 for Shoffley. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, Shoffley's been playing well. I was at the Wells Fargo last week, and he was playing pretty well, but Rory it was his day. And it's good to see him up on the top of the leaderboard. How do you think conditions are going to play into this? It was nice for him to get out early, but it looks like the weather is going to, start getting some rain. You're seeing a lot of clouds now. It could make for a tough next few days.
Well, springtime in the Midwest is always a bit of a crapshoot. We all know that. You can get some beautiful weather. You can get some really bad things to move in. And, I know the course is long. It's 7,600 yards or whatever. And if it rains a lot or get it much at all, it will be even longer than that. I just don't think that you can make a golf course that's too long for these guys. I mean, the way they hit it, how far they drive it, their irons, how far they hit their irons. 7,600 is nothing for them. It's a piece of cake in the stores that trust them.
Is it more or less the long iron players? Those are most effective when you got a long course like that and gets wet, because it seems as though, as Rock alluded to, Tom, that they were throwing darts at the pin. They had that rain earlier and things were sticking. So is it the long iron prowess of these guys that really start to score or show up?
Well, I just don't think they hit a lot on. I mean, I think, when you think about, guys hitting 8 irons 200 yards and, or 190 yards and hitting their 7 irons, 215. And I mean, there's no such thing as a long iron anymore unless you're looking up on a par 4 or a second shot in a par 5. So I just, you start doing the math, but, you drive to 330 and you have the hole is 550, it leaves you 220. That's probably a 6 iron. The driver 6, the driver and a middle iron. For a 550-yard hole. And so there's no such animal anymore as rarely of hitting a long iron, over water to a tuck pin. It almost never happens. And I don't think it's going to happen this week. And I think the guys are just going to rip up that course because they do it every time they play there. They do low scores.
Tom, have you had success playing that course? How many times have you had an opportunity to play it?
Yeah, I played there a couple times. And, I know that I finished 9th in the PGA one year when we played there. The course is a good course, not a great course, good course, and it does give up low scores. Usually it's in great condition. The greens are typically fantastic. I don't know how wide the fairways are, but about length. They try to really stretch the course and make the course, play very long, and that's always kind of what they do. Throw in some rough, but then if you get soft conditions like they have, it makes the course play wider. And I think really that's the issue is, when if your ball lands in the fairway, it's going to stay in the fairway. There's no bouncing, from the fairway into the rough when the conditions are soft. So soft conditions just makes the course play wider. It makes it, a little more room for error, and taking out that driver and just letting it rip is the way they're going to play it.
It's interesting. I heard Rory McIlroy talk yesterday about, to your point there, Tom, that it can be a wide open course because I get my shoulders and hips into it. I can lay it out there. So I hear that and I go, I want to get your thought. Would this be the easiest major course they're going to face this year? You got the Masters, you got the Open, the British Open, the regular Open, and then this, would you say?
Yeah, I do think that this course is, it does give up low scores, and it always, like I say, it always has. I think when Tiger won, he shot about 18 under, and I know 15 or for one year when it was there. So it's conducive to low scoring. It's conducive to aggressive play. There is some trouble, but the guys who are playing well are going to avoid that. So in the other course that could possibly give up low scores is always the Open Championship. If you get good weather on a links course, because they typically play shorter because the ball rolls so much, somebody's going to get around in a pretty low number, and that's kind of typical over there. If you get bad weather, then the scores go way up. So the U.S. Open and the Masters are the ones that make you really earn that low one. You have to really play some amazing golf to shoot super low there. The PGA this week will give out some low scores.
Tom, do you still feel the undercurrent between the PGA and the LIV golfers? Because as we look at the leaderboard, it's the PGA guys right now who are sort of dominating, and the LIV guys are lowered down on the leaderboard. I'm just curious if there still is that undercurrent of tension.
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's gone on long enough where guys have adopted and adjusted to the status quo, which is two different tours. Really kind of with American guys competing against each other. It's a weird thing, and it hasn't done anything good for golf. It's created a lot of things in golf which you make it look like just every other sport where it's all about just the money, and that's never a good thing. But I think the guys probably have kind of gotten used to it and live and let live, and maybe they may not be friends. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of guys looking to join Mickelson for lunch, But I think they probably see each other and acknowledge each other, and then just go about this.
Tom, Rory McIlroy talked about it the other day that he's less confident that these two parties can join forces. Do you feel that that's pretty much the case now, that there may not be a merger?
Well, without knowing anything about what's going on the inside, it just seems to me that it hasn't happened yet. And there must be a reason for it, and the reason is pretty difficult. So the longer you go without an agreement, I would say the more the chances go up that there never will be one. That would be, I would agree. Just looking at it from the outside, that the longer they go without getting it put together, then the chances diminish that it'll happen. And so I don't know. I mean, like, so much has changed with the PGA Tour. I mean, they now have a for-profit entity, and they've given players equity, shares of the tour, and have a bifurcated tour themselves with elevated purses and elevated events. All the stuff they always said they would never do, they're doing.
3.
So the whole appearance of LIV has really changed, not only the way people perceive golf, but it's actually changed dramatically the structure of the PGA Tour and how they do business. Very reactionary, which is, to me, the worst part about it. The tour got way behind the 8 ball, started reacting to everything, and other than being out ahead and being the people kind of leading the way.
And also, Tom, it seems as though Rory McIlroy, who's removed himself from being in the middle of all that, is playing so much better golf. It's amazing. You talk about all the time how mental the game can be. So when Rory's on, like he was last week, and playing good golf, what is it about his game in particular that you notice?
Oh, he's the same as everyone else. He becomes Superman. Just fearless. Just hitting the shot you have to hit and just letting it rip. And
What, 2?
About the repercussions. And so that's what I see with him is when things are really going his way. He's so aggressive. And because he drives the ball so well when he's playing well, he's on offense every single hole. So it's tough to beat a guy who is really kind of putting the full court press on. It's the equivalent of playing basketball and having the other team press you 90 feet for 48 straight minutes. There's never a break. You got to fight your way across the timeline. You got to fight your way to get a basket because this other team just never lets the pressure off. That's the way McIlroy plays when he's playing well. Just never let the pressure off.
Tom, we haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, but I was fortunate to get out and play the Estates course at the Biltmore that you helped redesign, or you did redesign the old Dobia course.
1 minute.
And I'm just curious, the process of going in and redesigning a course, and one that has such a long history, that being the Arizona Biltmore. But how long does that process take, and how enjoyable is it for you to kind of go through every hole and kind of say, all right, I'm going to do this, do that from all the different places you've played around the world?
Well, I do. I really do enjoy it. It's a very fun experience. I like every portion, every from the preparation part to the construction phase to the grow-in phase. Now we're in the list phase where we're going back in beginning of the summer to kind of fix all the punch list items that things that never quite got done right or done at all. During the construction, it was a very, very tight timeline for construction. It was brutally difficult. So there's still things to be done out there, but there's always an issue. The issue we had really that made it very difficult was they built a new clubhouse, and they lost almost 5 acres of golfing space on the north end of the property. And they're already a very small property, a very tight little place, and so to try to find ways to make the golf course, legitimate, versus like the black tees, playing 6,000 yards. That just as an executive course. So it took a lot of work to try to find a way to make a golf course, still play 67 to 6,100 yards up the back, having lost, that much land to begin with. So it was a bit of a puzzle, putting it all together. So some things are new, a lot of things are the same, but at the end of the day, giving it a facelift too, and so it's a different look. So lost a whole bunch of trees the last summer's heat, and you got a whole bunch now put back in. So it's getting better day by day.
I wish you could have gone over to the links and fixed that little par 3 that it seems like they just threw it in there the last minute because there was no more room, where it's against those houses there.
The dog leg?
Yeah, the dog leg, yeah.
With the line shot, yeah.
But it is a fun track, and what a great place. But Tom, as always, man, we always appreciate you carving out some time for us, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good being with you guys too. Thanks for having me on.
That's the great Tom Lehman joining us again. If you haven't played the Biltmore,
got to try that.
Not a long
time course. It's now called the Estates, and the clubhouse is amazing. They opened about 4 months ago, and they redid it.
Right.
It's interesting. I would love to sit down and just hear how that whole process goes. Because there's some unbelievable golfers is what they do now. Jack does it obviously, but Tom's got a lot of courses that he's built from scratch and redesigned.
Yeah, Verado is one of the ones who designed up there. Verado.
I can see that as very, very rewarding.
Oh,
very rewarding.
Yeah, financially too.
Yes, that too.
But just to sit back and just be a fly on the wall and find out how that whole process goes. And just says, all right, we're on number 9. It's a par 4. It's 380 yards. This is what we're gonna do to change it. I'm gonna make it like XYZ course in Ohio or whatever.
Here's my thoughts and ideas. Let me take that clay and mold it my way.
Great. What are they gonna say? No. Tom Lehman,
I know.
British Open champion. All right, coming up as we continue from Twin Peaks in. Let's throw.